This recording of Bitter Angel, written by Joel Lane, appears here with permission from the estate of Joel Lane, copyright 2011. All rights reserved. It is available in the collection The Anniversary of Never, published by Swan River Press, 2015. Please see the accompanying description for a website link. Reading by Jeff Clark. Bitter Angel by Joel Lane. Hello, Michael. It's good to see you again. I've missed you. Can you hear me? I don't know if you recognize me even. It's Lee. Do you remember? The nurse wouldn't tell me whether you can understand things. The last time I came here, you were covered in bandages. Now I can see it's you. But what's damaged or lost inside, nobody seems to know. I want to tell you that I think I understand what happened to you and Jason. I've made sense of it. And I want to tell you that I love you. As a friend, I mean. We've been friends for 9 years. I guess we were more than that for a couple of nights. But they were a long time ago, and months apart. It's friendship that lasts for me. For you, I know it was different. I've never felt about anyone the way you did about Jason. The way you still do, I suppose. That's why you can't come back. But you've made it this far, so maybe you can go further. Anything's possible. Cleveland Tower is a ruin, by the way. Half the city center burned down that night in August. People are coming back, but the anger's still there. The army won, of course. The papers say all that matters is restoring stability, but that means preventing change. And the government was all for making people accept change when it came from above. You said that to me last summer, do you remember? In one of your midnight emails, before it all fell apart. I remember when you first told me about Jason. He'd come down from Blackburn when his company relocated. I think you met at the Pride weekend, roaming the streets at 2 a.m. You called him the Angel of the North, after that sculpture you went to see a few years ago. Jason was your type, I guess. Small, dark-haired, intense. I met the two of you in New Street that summer. It was obvious you were mad about each other. All the time it was like you were dancing together and the music had just stopped for a moment. When you were alone together, it would start again. You used to email me on nights when he wasn't with you. One time you told me about a dream you'd had, a boy with wings flying into the sunset above the city's black skyline, then the wings catching fire, and you thought he'd flown too close to the sun until you noticed the sniper on the ground. Another time, I think you'd been drinking. You told me you'd never really known what making love could be like until you met Jason. The sleepless nights when you just couldn't leave each other alone. You'd stock the fridge with cold food and fruit juice so you could stay in bed all weekend. And how there were, as you put it, no limits, no barriers between you, physical or emotional. Lucky old you was my reaction. Actually, that wasn't all of my reaction. Then you told me Jason had lost his job and moved in with you, so the two of you had a bird's-eye view of the city from the 18th floor when the riots and protests started. You said that where the view had been a fixed pattern of lights like a constellation, now it had swirls of flame like a comet. The trouble only happened in the major cities, so I was safe from it out in Hagley. I did think about coming into Birmingham to join the protesters, but I didn't have the guts, and then it was too late, once the army had moved in and closed the roads. You sent me an email describing the two of you standing naked on your balcony in the early hours of the morning. You'd been making love, but neither of you could sleep. Jason was behind you, his arms twined with yours, and you thought about flying together. From the streets below, you could just hear the sirens. By then, the army had imposed a curfew. Jason kissed you, and you thought his skin was too warm. Maybe he had a fever. His left hand was bandaged from where he'd fallen on the steps outside the tower, slipped on broken glass and landed on more of it. Nobody was cleaning the streets anymore. The next night, you told me Jason was very sick. You'd gone out in the day to try and find a doctor or a pharmacy, but the roads were closed off and the soldiers wouldn't help you. He needed antibiotics, you said. His hand wasn't too bad, but the infection had got into his bloodstream. All you had was painkillers and bottled water. Then you emailed me at 6 a.m. to say you hadn't slept all night. Jason was unconscious on a bed soaked with sweat. There'd been more fires and shooting in the city. It was a Sunday. I emailed you twice that morning, but didn't hear back until late afternoon. All you said was, "Jason has been dead for a few hours. At least he was unconscious when he died. Do you feel pain in your sleep? He looks peaceful now. I want to bury him, but there's nowhere to go. The fires are closing in all around. When I open the window, I can smell smoke, taste ashes on the wind. I keep asking him what I should do. Maybe if I hold him close, he'll find a way of telling me." I read that 3 times, trying to work out what I could say to you that might possibly help. Then when I tried to click on reply, the screen froze. That was when they shut down the broadband. There was no internet access for 2 days. I don't really know what happened in Birmingham, or London, or Manchester, or a few other cities in between. All the violence was blamed on rioters and looters, but there were thousands of deaths. Tower blocks burned down, people shot in the road, burned in their cars or their homes. I lost a lot of friends that weekend. If I hadn't seen the newspaper story, I would have gone on thinking you were dead. I suppose at that time, a survivor was more newsworthy than a fatality. It was a short item in the local paper, with the headline, "Insane Suicide Leap Fails." 2 young men had been found lying together on the pavement, one dead and one alive. The survivor was underneath with the dead man tied to his back. Their arms were bound together with strips of cloth. According to a pathologist, both men had fallen from a dangerous height, but the dead man had actually died several hours before the fall. The other man must have intended to kill himself by leaping. He was still in a coma. Both men had been identified. They gave your names. There was still a curfew, but the restored internet access and phone lines enabled me to track you down to the city hospital. Identifying myself as a longtime friend of yours, I talked to the ward matron and a policeman who said you might be charged with mistreatment of a dead body if you were fit to stand trial. You'd opened your eyes, but they were unable to get any reaction from you. That was a week ago. Maybe you'll come back if you think there's something to come back for. I don't have any answers for you, except that having made it this far is not something you should waste. Love is powerful no matter how much grief it causes. You see, the police and the nurses assume you jumped off the roof of a house by the university, or maybe out of a low-flying helicopter. But I know you jumped out of Cleveland Tower in the city center. You and Jason fell 19 floors and 3 miles to the south. Together you got beyond range of the fire. But of course, in the end, you had to come back down.